together. Hey, what's up with you today? You know what? When are you going to recognize? Or do you have a plan to recognize? You know what? Life is so crazy nowadays that when we go through and we wonder why we end up in certain places, in certain situations, but just because you end up in them situations don't mean that you as a chosen one never had a plan. Never had a plan that was better than the plan that was given to you. Because you were chosen, it was only you who can carry out that plan. But in the end, there is a chosen plan for you. People wonder why they get caught up. You found yourself caught up in a relationship time and time again. Things are well, your heart is just right, you're feeling love, you're feeling the blossom, everything is great, there's no issues, you have the attraction of the opposite of what you are, of the same of what you are, and it brings you all together and you start to build on that. And as you build on that, you start to grow. And as you start to grow, you start to accumulate. You start to accumulate wealth. You start to accumulate health. You start to accumulate knowledge. And then all of a sudden that ball drops. Things start to not look the same. People start to be different. You even begin to see yourself doing things different. You even begin to see yourself being tested. But you get to the point to know that I want this or I don't. Now with me, I have a strategy. And I've always had the strategy. Not that I'm looking for the worst, but just in case I have to question myself. And I do not share this strategy with myself. I share it with the individual I'm with. I give the number 5. The world itself runs on measurement of numbers. Relationship, how many years you've been together? 7 years, 15 years, 20 years, a year, 5 days, 1 day. You know what I'm saying? Everything runs off a number. So why can't a plan run off a number? Why can't I plan? Not that you're looking for anything worse to happen, but let me sit back and ask myself, after this 5 years plan, I give you 2 years, I give myself 2 years. To see, how things are going. Are we committed to each other? Are things changed? What changed about us? And not that I'm observing you in that way, or you should observe your partner in that way. It's just the fact that you're paying attention to the things that could get in the way, or things you may not notice. You do notice, but you begin to give a person a chance. You give a person a chance, like you want somebody to give you a chance. So within this 5-year period, when I get to that 5-year period, I say, you know what? I'll give you 2, and I'll give you 2. That's 4 years, right? That last year, that 5th year, I'm observing, I'm paying attention. What is the pros? What is the cons? Am I losing myself? Am I growing? Is that wealth? Is that health? And that financial being of getting further as a couple together, and still knowing that I can still have my own and you can have your own, and we can still build a community of wealth within where we live and also where we work. Some of us may even help our partner move on in school when it comes to financial matters, paying for books, paying for classes, because you have accomplished these things, or maybe it's not an interest of yours, but you want to see them grow. And then within that 5th year, you always look at what I have done, what they have done for me. And that last year, only if you're feeling that things are not working out, things are changing, but it's not changing in your favor. You're not growing. You're not going anywhere. And sometimes you may have to leave earlier than that. It depends on the situation. But if you're growing, and usually it takes 5 years for a serious relationship to start to be questioned about what's going on. That 5th year, something about that number 5. So on that 5th year, you begin to say, okay, I gave me to that last year we're gonna work it together. Let's see what they're doing and let's see what I'm doing. And split it down the line. And that's how you're gonna know on that last year, pros and your cons, which one of you are leaving the relationship or not paying attention to the relationship or not driving on the relationship. Leaving it, paying attention and driving on the relationship. When I drive on my relationship, I'm doing things to build it. When I leave my relationship, I don't care anything about it. And when I test my partner, because there's people that would test you. They would test you like bringing a friend over to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what does this friend has to do with our relationship? Why are you bringing somebody to test me to see if I'm faithful to you? Because people do that. People would do that and they call it their pros and their cons. But you already know how you're going to react. You already know what you're going to do. But who they send, they don't know how they're going to do things to get you to be in a position. Whether they get you drunk, whether they put something in your drink, you know what I'm saying? Or whether they lie on you. You could have went in a hotel room with somebody, going through this battle. Don't forget, you're 5 years. You're doubting the relationship. You're going to make certain steps. But when you get there, you don't do anything. Or if you get there, you don't know what situation they put you in. And it may look like you're doing something wrong, but you're not. And that's why I tell people, do not test in a relationship in that way. See how I do it? I would just go by and just question the amount of years, the amount of activity, whether it's negative or positive, without putting outside people into something that only you and I can handle. And you and I should handle. And as people grow, people don't realize the committed growth that you have within yourself. Not that you're testing, not that you want to walk out, but you have to always think about you. You don't want to lose yourself. I'm losing myself because things are not happening the way I want it to be. I don't see myself growing. I don't see us going on vacations. I don't see us talking about wealth together. I don't see us talking about not just wealth, but if you want to build a family, whether you adopt children, whether you have children. These are the questions that couples are so quickly to bring outside help to test the relationship, when all you need is you two. You started with you two, and that's the way you should finish with you two. And my 5-year plan is finishing with 2. I bring nobody in. What I bring in is my observance. And when I observe, I begin to recognize. And once I recognize, I begin to change. And change is changing for the better and not leaving the individual out. I will ask questions. I will sit down. I say, you know what? Things have been good. What are we going to do? This is 1 year. And you just don't contemplate on what you think was going to happen. What you do, you make moves, you make plans, and you make it with your partner. How about opening a bank account? How about starting a business? Now that I helped you with school, can you help me with this? And you see how they interact with you. If it's the same positiveness you gave them, then you know you're okay within that 5-year range. But if they're giving you negative and not want to help you the way you help them, then I begin to question, where is the support in the relationship? Do we need counseling? That's the only outside party I'm going to get, a professional person who's professional enough not to go behind my back and see my lover, but somebody who's truly professional in what they do and wanting to see us grow. You'll be amazed of the things couples encounter when they try to build a relationship. And you have to be careful where you go for help. Because where you go for help may be an individual that will be used to tear down that relationship because it was never sparked from the beginning. Because you all have learning capabilities and you also have learning times I have to learn how to build. And on learning, they learned with you, we call them seasonal relationships, and they take what they learn from you and move on with the next. But you can hold your head up high because you know what you gave. And even though you may be alone for years, know that that 5-year plan is a good plan. You prepared yourself, you know yourself, you grew. And you not only grow, you allow yourself to get to a point to grow by yourself. Whatever you wanted to accomplish, you didn't accomplish. With the support of this person, you go out there and you find community services that will give you your support. You know, and you also do that with the person. You got to have community support anyway. You got programs out there that support you. But when I'm talking about support, I'm talking about, hey, baby, go out there and do it. Do your thing. It doesn't have to be financial support. It could be just be a word of mouth. And if I don't get the word in the mouth, sometimes you recognize that person could have been your competition all the time in the relationship. This person was just with you, just to learn from you and to take it somewhere else. Seasonal relationships. Some relationships are for a season, some relationships are for a reason. The reason ones are the ones that last over time. We understand. We know that we can go through this and we can have changes, and going through this is the obstacles that others will bring your way when they see a strong relationship, or the obstacle of financial failure, or the obstacle of what? Of the emotional strain that is brought on a relationship that lasts. Because you're seeing the same person every day. You're eating the same food every day. And as you go places, people are going to talk to you negatively about, oh, you're with this person. You don't get tired of one person. And not that it is a stressful thing for you, but what you have to deal with every day sometimes. And guys deal with it the most. That's why you pick your friend wisely when you're in a relationship. I like to choose the ones who are secure in their relationship, supportive in their relationship, and respectful in their relationship, which means they're not going to go out there and cheat or talk about their wives or their husbands behind their back. Those are the people I hang with when I'm in a relationship. Because in order to keep support of your relationship, and I want a good relationship, you have to have good people around you. And that's what people fail to realize. Even if you club and if you're an entertainer, there's entertainers that have what? They have a reputation of being a good husband, of being a supportive husband. Everybody talk about El Cool J a lot. Everybody talk about them people in entertainment that just do what they have to do. You know what I'm saying? And they go through their obstacles. They go through moments that I know that women are always on them. You know, we hear Chris Brown, we hear Rihanna and Chris Brown. They were a good relationship. but people go through, and sometimes it's this experience for people to witness people in the light, in the highlight, to work out their relationship of those who aren't. So those people, when they go through, are you learning from them? Are you experiencing? Because some things I don't want to experience. I don't want to experience certain things other people experience. So if I can learn from another person, let me learn from them. And a lot of people don't know how to observe. I don't have to go through a situation when the situation is right before my eyes. Somebody's sharing their experience. And through their experience, I am learning how to avoid certain things in my relationship. That 5-year drive, I have always been with a person, and I know it's after 5 years it's over. I thought it was a curse. I said, is it a curse? But subconsciously, your self-conscious and your ego and your id that fights when it comes to saving you will fight to a point to let you know better, you know these things, and you know how to survive. You can survive. You can't do the support on your own. I don't need what somebody think that I need. I don't need to be in a relationship that's not going to be for me. I don't need to be driving in a place that only those will think of themselves. You understand what I'm saying? And as I continue to grow and continue to make life more exciting and visual, as I learn from what I'm going through and observing others. And sometimes people are in a spotlight and they go through because it's the messages that letting you know that we all go through. We all may experience something. We all have a story to tell. But how do you cope with it? What is your coping? And most of all, I like to title it, your defense mechanism that you use. Things that you use to build the relationship. Things that you use when you know the relationship is deteriorating. What input am I going to put into it? Are we going to start going to the movies, acting like we're young again? And what I think helps the most is when you separate yourself, because a lot of people spend too much time together. You're in a house all day together. You're doing this together. So, and you have to learn that when I say these things, I'm not saying it to get you to separate from the individual, but to understand what it means to have time to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because time is respectable time. We're together all day long. And some people could sit in the room all day long, but there's some people that you could pick up, let me go in the next room. Or sometimes you may need that space to go in the next room. Or you got your own room, you know. And there's people in relationships that the husband may have the office, you know what I'm saying? The wife may have another place in the corner or her special back room. And people are building in their relationships like that. They build in their own space. Because when we're home, we're home. But when we separate, and oh Lord, when we get back together, when we sat back together, you know what I'm saying? Now we're going to sit in the living room and we're going to talk about when we were in our individual space, because we were able to get work done. And that's the respectable, that's giving each other a little boundary of separation so you can move forward. We're together, we're going to always be together. But look how much we have learned in life, that we even learned to even allow each other to have separate rooms. I'm talking about privacy rooms that he don't go in and she don't go in. You know, and it's a room that's made up of what they like. That's where she bake her bread. You know what I'm saying? And then she making money. Baking bread. and the money came so good, they was able to have an addition room or a different alteration to the house. But if I've never allowed her that time and gave her that space so she can creatively grow, then we would not be where we are today, and that goes the same for the other partner. So think about these things that I say and take them into hand, and know when you take the time to truly BS and discover. I'm not talking about BS, but I'm talking about the better situations to discover. Until next time, BS and discover.